Good afternoon, Wyandotte. I'm Abby, and this is your YTV Weekly Wrap-Up.
Sure do a lot more than FEMA did. Yeah, can't forget about me, stupid. Everywhere I go, I'ma have my own theme music. Every time I close my eyes, what you see, bro? I see my name in shining lights. Oh, yeah. What else? A different city every night.
There's lots going on in the world right now. For most students, especially seniors, spring break is heavy on our minds. No matter if it's just a week off school to rest and relax, or you're headed to a fancy vacation, the week is a much needed break from school to recharge before the final push to the end of the year. If you're vacationing, don't forget to wear sunscreen, have fun, and be safe. Future travelers, Southwest announced that it will no longer allow bags to fly free on its airline, starting in May. In world news, the U.S. lifted the military freeze in Ukraine, proposing a 30-day ceasefire in Ukraine that has been accepted by Ukraine and is awaiting Russian acceptance, which will be brokered by the U.S. This 3-year war has killed, wounded over 10 billion, and rebuilding is estimated to take more than 10 years. The cost, more than $500 billion. In world of sports, the college basketball NCAA tournament started today. Top 64 teams in the country will battle it out in the Final Four in San Antonio, April 4th through 7th. Locally, Michigan State is a 2 seed after winning the regular season Big Ten championship, and Michigan is a 5 seed after winning the Big Ten tournament. That is it for world news. Now on to the weekly wrap-up on RHS clubs.
Here at RHS, there's been much going on as well. Spring sports are underway, and clubs are at the heart of their competition and performance seasons. Last weekend, the marching band performed at the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Corktown after competing in the MSBOA competition this previous week. Kane spent time with the instrumental music department to hear about those competitions.
This past Saturday, our band program made their way up to Livonia Franklin High School for the MSBOA Band and Orchestra Festival, an event where schools from around the state performed for a crowd of judges trying to outperform the last. What was it like playing at the event?
I thought it was really cool because we got to go to another school and perform our music for judges.
It was super nerve-wracking. I had a really important kind of solo part, and I did mess it up a little bit, but it was pretty fun to perform on the stage and to have all those people watching. It was pretty cool.
A common favorite of the event was a sight sheet, where performers were given a song that they had not yet rehearsed and were tasked to perform it on the spot. How did you prepare for the festival, and did you do anything differently from previous years?
Yeah, well, preparing for festival is really an everyday experience in the classroom. Differently this year is we had a couple different pieces of music. We weren't really sure which one we were going to take, so that was a little bit different. But when we decided on a repertoire, we just really every day went hard at trying to make the music the best it could possibly be.
The band spent many months practicing and perfecting the performance for the festival. The hard work and dedication really shined as the judges awarded them excellence across the board. What lessons do you hope your students take away from this experience?
That's a great question. So festival really helps you prepare for something. So preparing for any performance is that same way. But I think lessons as an application to life, preparing for festival, something that's important. Like what can you do to prepare so when you're in performance or you're at an event or whatever you're planning for, to make sure that everything is prepared and you're ready for whatever might happen.
Were there any standout performances or special moments?
I really liked the music selection that we had this year. There's some beautiful moments in a piece that we played called Journal for a Soldier. And that piece to me really stands out as something that resonated with the performer. And it's just, there's some beautiful moments, so I just have some really fond memories of some of those moments.
Be sure to stop by their next concert on Thursday, March the 20th for a guaranteed great performance and to support your fellow students.
It is amazing that our peers are sight reading at a much higher level than their peers from other schools. But they aren't the only group to have competed recently. FFA has had 3 separate competitions during the last few weeks and has had students excel at all 3.
FFA, or Future Farmers of America, is a program that allows students to explore a wide range of aspects of the agricultural industry. Recently, the FFA Club at RHS has completed a few events, including the Arthur Berkeley Science Fair, where students would come up and complete a research paper related to agricultural industry, where students RJ and Eric took first place. We also had student Kamai Cloud compete in the FFA Leadership Convention, which included various leadership contests, which included public speaking, job interviews, debates, and more. What was your project on, and can you describe states?
Alright, so our project was testing the electrolytes of sports drinks by testing the electrical conductivity of sports drinks.
How did you prepare for this event?
We practiced a lot, like right before we went in, like on the benches, and we practiced questions they might ask us.
How was your overall experience with the state?
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was a chill environment. Everyone was welcoming. I think it was pretty good.
Which leadership competition did you compete in, and can you describe the process of it?
So I competed in prepared public speaking for FFA, and the entire process of it was pretty simple, but it took a lot of effort. And basically what we did is we prepared a 6 to 8 minute speech, and we had to present it in front of probably like 3 or 4 judges, and they rated it based on they rated it based on our presentation and the information, and they asked us questions at the end.
How did you prepare for the competition?
So it took a lot of memorization and practice. We were allowed to have note cards, but we weren't really allowed to look at them a lot. So probably 2 months beforehand, we would just practice and practice and practice. So.
How was your overall experience of the event?
It was stressful. I wanted to rip my hair out sometimes, but I think it was pretty fun. It was a new experience, and I think that those of you who are interested in FFA should join.
Botany students are killing it at the state level. So are our marketing students. Last week, 52 students competed at the state DECA competition, and 15 students qualified for the International Development Conference in April. Kylie talked to students as they prepare for states.
Hey RHS! The DECA team is going to states this weekend, so we talked to some of the board members to see how the process of practicing for states is currently going for them. When and where is states?
This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and is in Detroit.
Is there only specific people that are going to states?
So the ones that are going to states are the people that competed in our first competition, and if they got called on stage to get a medal, they are going to states, so they get to present there.
Can you describe the process of going to DECA states?
So there's 2 different processes. There are different events that you can compete in. I compete in a written event, but there are many students here who compete in what we call role plays. Written events are prepared, so we've worked on papers and have created presentation boards and presentations itself for months now. That's a little bit different. Those are automatically competed at states, so all those students who have prepared papers are going to states no matter what. And then we have our role play students who have to prepare and practice in front of a judge and then qualify. From there, they can present their role play at states.
How are you preparing for states?
I'm in the hallway a lot doing my presentation with my sister. We have to go over our script and memorize that a lot. So.
And then what are the opportunities from joining DECA?
Of course, you get to meet millions of people, make great friendships. You get so good at communication skills and learning how to problem solve and business skills that you need to know.
Would you recommend DECA?
Of course, 100%.
As DECA is making all their last preparations for this weekend, the club is an amazing way to gain communication skills and lifelong friendships. To join this group, you must have taken Marketing 1. With any further questions, go to Ms. Comiskey in room 112. So get out there and give it a try. Good luck, DECA. Now back to the anchors.
Congratulations to Grayson Eskin, Tamara Hinojosa, Emma Jordan, Brooke Wicker, Kate Buckley, Mackenzie Thompson, Kaylee Groves, Violet Mickle, Haley Parrish, Hannah Parrish, Lily LaRue, Star Hamill, Aubrey Lyons, Gracelyn Adams, and Logan Comiskey. Another student who competed at the state competition last weekend was Eli Wicker and the Poetry Out Loud States.
What's up, RHS? This week we're going to dive deeper into Poetry Out Loud. This club is not just about reciting words, but about bringing poetry to life. When students first come in, many of them are nervous and unsure of themselves. Mr. Keese and Mr. Baker explained that by the end, you can see a change in their confidence and understanding of the poem. How does performing poetry feel compared to just reading it?
Reading it is more like going through the motions and just getting every word down, but actually performing it it's feeling what the speaker would feel. A lot of my poems have a more personal meaning to them. I chose 2 poems about being queer because I'm queer myself and I wanted to use my voice to help bring awareness.
Through weeks of practice, students not only refine their performance skills, but develop a deeper connection to their chosen poem. What was the hardest part of preparing for the competition?
Practice. I practice a lot. For school finals, I think I was practicing at least 3 times a week, and for states, this week I'm practicing almost every day.
Because they spend so much time rehearsing, they begin to relate to their poem on a more personal level. Mr. Keys explained how it's not just about memorization, it's about feeling the poem and making it their own. Has poetry out loud changed how you see poetry?
Now that I've kind of been surrounded by poetry for a few months, it's such a beautiful way to express your emotions, and I feel like we just don't appreciate it as much anymore.
Do you think poetry still matters today, and why?
I think it 100% still matters. Poetry is used in music, it's used in rap, it's used in cards, it's used in everything, and I think that people have kind of lost the art of it just because they find it boring.
Poetry Out Loud is more than just a competition or a club. If you think you would be a great benefit, don't be too scared to join.
How was the competition?
The competition was really good. I didn't end up qualifying for top 4, but I feel like everyone who did deserved to be there. A lot of really strong other reciters, and you could tell that they really cared and knew a lot about their poems.
And what was the hardest part of competing at states?
Getting my message across. I had very emotionally complex poems, and I knew I was going into it with kind of that mindset that I really needed to like convince everybody that they knew just as much as me about the poem, and that is like the hardest thing to do in a group full of people who have no idea what you're talking about, because a lot of the poems that we pick are really based off of like personal experiences or, you know, just our lives, and trying to get a group of mostly just parents who are there to support their kids to sit and understand what you're talking about. It's difficult, but it's also really fun.
Well, congratulations on the state competition. This time of year is filled with so many activities for different groups at the school. The Auto Shop recently went to both the Auto Show and Autorama. Daisy was able to tag along on their trip.
Last week, the Auto Shop classes went to Autorama. Let's check out these whips.
Back to the street where we began, feeling as good as others can, you know. Yeah, we're feeling so good, picking up things we shouldn't read. It looks like the end of history as we know. It's just the end of the world.
Rain is falling like rhinestones from the sky.
What's your favorite thing about Autorama?
My favorite thing is finding the kind of car that I want in the future and just admiring it. Honestly, completely honest, the toy vendors.
I like seeing what people have done, sometimes their life's work, and admiring it.
Robotics has begun their competition season as well. Last week, they were at Belleville High School. Michael Fedek is here to talk about their competition. Michael, how did Friday go?
I think it was a good experience for the team, but there were technical difficulties and physical difficulties that we had to overcome.
What were those difficulties?
I would say the coding. We couldn't really drive. We had a hard time getting it all started for the competition, and then just some other problems with the physical robot itself.
Just tell us a little bit about robotics.
Robotics is a student-driven thing. All the teammates and all the members, we're kind of focusing on our prototype and all that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like this group has put in a lot of effort towards building the robot and preparing for the competitions. Josh, Andrea, and Araceli talked to some other robotics members about their season.
Hey RHS, did you know we had a robotics team? We went around and learned more about it.
What is robotics?
So the robotics team is a
national organization that allows students to work with industry people to solve a problem every year that's different and kind of develop a solution to the problem, like my engineering class.
How long have you been in robotics?
This would be my second year.
How's it going so far?
It's going really good. We've had some minor setbacks, but that's typical when it comes to actually engineering anything.
This is my second year.
How have you guys been preparing for the competition?
We've been just working on our manners, working on how we should walk, how we should move the robot, how we should drive, everything like that to just get us prepared.
What's the process like of making a robot?
Well, first we have to learn what the game and target is to accomplish, and then we all get together and brainstorm, and then we divide up into build and programming. Build team actually builds the mechanisms we're going to use to play, programming codes them.
What's a competition like?
A party. They're crazy. If you have ever been to like a sporting league meet and things like that, it's not like it's that many people. It's a ton of people. Just think of it like a stadium full of people. They fill gymnasiums.
Do you plan on making a career out of this?
Yeah, I want to go into prosthetic limbs.
I've been in robotics for 2 years now.
Do you plan on creating a career out of this?
Technically no, but my career does involve a lot of STEM stuff, so it would help a lot in my career.
This is my third year of robotics. I've been in it since freshman year.
Do you plan on making a career out of this?
I personally do not, but I do know that a lot of people in robotics are planning on doing it.
I've been in robotics for 2 years now. I plan on going into a engineering field, but not necessarily like programming or anything.
Robotics sounds like a fun club. Make sure to sign up next year if you're interested.
Those robotics kids doing all that is so impressive. How do they know all those intricate details and can make that robot perform those tasks? Another group that is filled with smarties is the Quiz Bowl team. They finished their season last weekend with a quarterfinal loss to Riverview and a teacher match. Zoe talked to some of the competitors about this event.
Here at HSD, we are about Quiz Bowl Teachers versus Student competition. Quiz Bowl is a club based on answering trivia questions, kind of like Jeopardy. The club recently just had their last competition versus teachers at RHS. This is Quiz Bowl.
Quiz Bowl is an academic competition between our school and other schools in the area. So basically think of it as like Team Jeopardy, where 4 of our students go up against 4 students from another school.
How do you prepare?
When it comes to preparing, our practices are basically based off what questions we would see during the matches. Like, you have all sorts of categories, literature, history, basically we get a whole list of questions or practices. We go through them one by one, and it's basically see what we can get, what we need to improve on, what are we good on, and focus on those aspects.
What do you do for practice?
For practice, we usually go through question sets, kind of simulated games and match pieces, because each round has a slightly different format, so we go through some of those. We talk about specifics of those questions and such, and basically just see who knows what.
What happened at teachers versus students competition?
Oh, the staff versus students was a great one. We had some wonderful staff that came through, but this year the students just destroyed them. It was about like a 200-point win, so basically it was doubled up the teacher score. So it was great to see the students come through after they lost the last few years.
Who competed?
For the staff, we had Mr. Wymore, Mr. Shemansky, Ms. Fowler, Mr. Trusowitz, and Mr. Durant.
How well do you feel you did?
Personally, I think I did pretty well, but as a group, we had some really tough questions this year, and the key for a Quiz Bowl is to have students who kind of specialize and are really good in a certain subject, and we just didn't have a really good mix of people for the questions that were asked.
Who won?
Yesterday. So yesterday we had our end of the year tournament with our league. We won our first match, so everyone makes it. We won our first match against Flat Rock, and then we faced a really tough team against Riverview. We actually took the lead in the last quarter of the match, but they ended up going and pulling ahead and winning. So we did really well this year. We came up 4th place overall in the league, but then we just didn't quite make it through to the finals in the tournament at the end.
What type of question were you asked?
Well, we did really good on the geography and history sections. Like that's how we won the first match. We got a whole row of basically governmental questions. We got a guy on our team, Brooks. He's absolutely a legend when it comes to like American government, and like we beat them based on that. But then the second game we kind of lost because we were in the lead for just a smidge, but then we got hit with a whole thing of literature.
Congratulations to the students for winning and having a good season. If you're interested to join in Quiz Bowl, contact Mr. Cordins. Back to the anchors.
Our vocal music department has also been competing with concert choir and a cappella choir attending the DCA Choir Festival, where the a cappella choir received a score of 86.5 points and a superior rating, and concert choir received a perfect score of 90 points and superior rating as well. They also did a choir exchange last weekend with Woodhaven. A highlight of the vocal department is the Ravasi Chorale, who was the only group who performs while dancing. Anna, Allison, and Jasmine talked to some of the student leaders of the group.
Hey RHS, have you heard of Rovasi? If not, here's what it's all about. What does Rovasi do?
So we sing and dance, like it's called show choir. Like we sing and dance at the same time, usually just regular choir pieces, and we dance and sing. It's just more advanced.
What was your favorite trip you went on with Rovasi?
Probably just the school tour trips. Like that's usually like the only thing we do, but like those are really fun, like seeing all your old teachers and stuff.
Last year, it was junior year, we did Making Christmas, and it was like creepy in a way, but it was fun. Like it was kind of robotic. It was great.
What do you like about Rovasi?
I'm a choreographer, so I really like seeing my creations, like seeing everybody do them and like them.
What's the challenge of choreographing stuff?
Kind of seeing what fits for what song and like what comes together and what flows and what works the best for everybody.
What Rovasi is challenging?
Being able to project my voice and sing while dancing is very hard. Just being able to breathe and not die.
What do you need to do as a leader in the group?
I need to know my part very well. I need to be able to sing out and know my dances. If I don't know it, then I'm bringing the whole group down.
How has Rovasi impacted you in high school?
Honestly, it's been my life. Like, choir has been my whole life. It's all that I do. I've been in every choir class since sophomore year.
Wow, RHS, Rovasi seems kind of fun. If this seems like something you're interested, you should really look into it.
The spring school play, Zombie Prom, is May 1st through 3rd. Delaney went to go find out more.
Hey RHS, I'm Delaney Horgan. The Roosevelt Theater Company is currently working on their production of Zombie Prom, which will be performed on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Zombie Prom follows the story of Johnny Warner, played by Esteban Delgado, and Toffee, portrayed by Carissa Kennedy. The show is based around a battle between an unapproved high school romance and two determined lovers fighting for the relationship they want between each other. So when Toffee's parents, and the school's incredibly rude principal, Miss Strict, acted out by Kylie Torres, forces Johnny out of her life, Johnny takes it upon himself and decides nothing is worth living for without his Toffee. Following the tragic death, however, nobody expects it when Johnny pops up from the grave, totally alive and a brand new person. Well, if that's what you can call a zombie. Through hilarious twists and turns, the show follows Johnny in his new fight for equality during his second chance at life. Not only that, but with shocking turns of events, the audience will get the chance to learn the real reason behind all the hatred and disapproval between Johnny and Toffee being together. Overall, the cast and crew have been working tirelessly to become show ready. They'd be more than excited to see their friends in the crowd on once again, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's all for today. Now back to the anchor.
These are only a few of the more than 30 clubs and even more organizations that RHS has to offer students. If you aren't in something, find out what you're interested in and get involved. That's all for your WyTv weekly wrap-up. Remember, you only have 4 years here. Make them count. Have a great day, RHS.